All right, let's jump into this first story. Many of you have already seen the videos released by Tucker Carlson, but I want to make sure we can remind you just a quick bit before I show you what Whoopi Goldberg had to say about this. So we have Chuck Schumer, bald-faced lie, attacking Fox News for shameful use of January 6 video. How unfortunate. Elon Musk roasting them, which we'll show in a second. And then we have the actual more video footage showing exactly what happened. In this tweet from, I just saw this in response to someone. This is Tony Bag of Laughs tweeted, "If you think Tucker Carlson is a liar, it's because you don't understand. Buildings have four sides. The Capitol is massive. One side was chaos. The other side had cops waving people in and assisting them inside. That's not punching cops and breaking windows. And here is a video showing police opening the doors and letting people in." The video footage released by Tucker Carlson shows you've got Jake Chansley, the guy with the shaman hat, or whatever you want to call it, being given an escort by police who attempt to open doors for him and show him around and then escort him to the Senate chamber, where he then says, "Thank you, police." Now, in response to Tucker Carlson reporting on this, the media's gone nuts. The GOP establishment has gone nuts. Mitch McConnell's losing it. The Democrats, the media, that's all they can talk about. And Whoopi Goldberg had this to say. Wait, let's get the audio up. Can you switch the audio over? Is it good?
Should be. Why is this not being scrutinized the way that they scrutinize other things? Because to me, this should be against the law. You should not be able to lie to the American knowingly. And, you know, it's one thing if you made a mistake and you didn't know, but we heard for 5 or 6 years how, you know, the media was lying, sackadoo. They were fake news. They were this. So how come? What do we do as Americans to say this is not okay?
You'd have to say the First Amendment.
Yeah.
I think you,
the First Amendment doesn't allow you to willingly lie.
Yes, it actually does. Oh my God. The First Amendment actually does. So, you know, I'm not one to care too much about The View, to be completely honest, but this does exemplify a serious problem that we have in that, yeah, Whoopi, maybe it should be illegal to lie willfully to the American people. And then I got to tell you, you'd probably be the one in jail. It certainly would not be Tucker Carlson, probably be more like Chuck Schumer. Don't get me wrong, a bunch of Republicans would be wrapped up in it too. But no, the First Amendment does in fact allow you to lie. Yeah, because there is no arbiter of the truth when it comes to government, or at least there shouldn't be, but they're trying to make one. The scary thing about this is, and the reason why I think it's a good lead story, Tucker Carlson got actual video evidence showing, to be honest, a lot of what we already knew. There's so much video footage of people walking around. In fact, let me show you how Elon Musk responded to this. And I want to play you this video. So Chuck Schumer says Speaker McCarthy has held the gavel for less than 3 months. But by sharing the January 6th security footage with Fox News, he has already done more than any party leader in Congress to enable the spread of Trump's big lie. Elon Musk responds, "Do you want us to remove this video?" And it's from Steven Voiceover. I will now play for you this video, and I hope you have a good laugh.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the U.S. Capitol building. If you've joined us today for the insurrection, please make sure you pick up a promotional leaflet on the way in, stay inside the safety cordons at all times, and if you get lost, speak to one of our Capitol police officers. They'll be sure to point you in the right direction.
Obviously, this is in jest, voiceover, showing video footage of people peacefully walking through the Capitol, staying within the security ropes, asking police for help, and being given help by the police. It's fascinating. It's all. Oh, there's a guy taking a selfie. The video does show people climbing the wall, people walking in the building. The funny thing is, if you are, as the left would describe, a right winger, whatever that means, you're probably well aware that there was violence on January 6th, and you're probably not okay with it. I don't know, some people probably are. But the left keeps saying Tucker's fans and Trump supporters don't know about it. They're lying. And they're outright saying on TV they want it to be illegal to tell the truth because the truth is actually the lie, they say. But don't trust your lying eyes. We can only just see the video footage from Tucker Carlson. Here's the issue. They don't watch it. They watch The Daily Show. They watch The View. The View and The Daily Show then lie about it, and they never actually see the evidence. So what do we do?
I feel like Whoopi Goldberg was almost onto something. She's like, it should be wrong to lie to the American public. Meanwhile, she's not aware of the irony of what she's saying, right? Like, keeping some information and then saying like, well, that's a lie. She is like right on the cusp of realizing
she's almost getting it,
but she's not quite there.
Right.
I mean, I am probably not the one in the room to speak to this, but I think it's crazy that so many people will just deny this exists, right? Like NBC's headline for this right now is like, he's falsely depicting the January 6th like events at the Capitol. It's video from the Capitol. How can he falsely be falsely depicting it?
They're betting on people not actually watching Tucker Carlson.
Just seeing the headlines.
When they say falsely depict, I really feel like it's just saying that he's putting out a narrative that doesn't align with ours. Because the video isn't doctored or anything. Right. It's not. They'll say it's selectively edited. Well, I mean, there's 44,000 hours, so yes, it is selectively edited because you can only put up so much material. But it doesn't change the fact that he's showing video of what happened on that day, but he's presenting a different narrative. And the left just can't have anyone that doesn't fall in line with what their prescribed narrative is.
It excites me so much to see that tweet where the guy made the point about the four sides of the building because so I was actually placed on house arrest and I got off of house arrest for January 6th in May of last year. And literally within a week of getting off of house arrest, I began doing media. I was so anxious to get out and start talking about this and tell the story because nobody was presenting a counter narrative. Nobody. And the first interview that I did was an hour-long sit-down with Tucker on Fox Nation. And this is the point that I was trying to drill home time and time again when I kept doing my interviews. There are four sides to this building. And unless you were on the west side of the building, which is the side facing the National Mall, you are not seeing people assaulting police officers, scaling walls, breaking windows. When I arrived on the east side of the building, the two large Columbus doors on the east side of the building were already open. And people were saying, people are going inside the building. So I walked up to the top of the stairs, stood outside and shot a video for 8 minutes. They ended up arresting me. FBI stormed my apartment, handcuffed me, took me to jail. When I got out, I found out I was facing multiple felonies and a misdemeanor. I never even went inside the building on January 6th. But when I got out, I found out I was facing multiple felonies. And one of the felonies against me was occupying restricted grounds. It's peculiar because most people who went inside the building actually got misdemeanors of occupying a restricted building. I got a felony for occupying restricted grounds. But the point of this is that I'm considered an insurrectionist. I am considered a part of the deadly insurrection of January 6th, even though I was on the opposite side of the building, but people don't get, this is what they don't want you to know. And this is why they've created these narratives in the plea deal. Every plea deal that you read from a January 6er is going to include language talking about how they knowingly did this and they did this with this intent and they were there to, you know what I mean? And then they get to go to the media and say, well, we have, 1,000 convictions of people who have confessed that they were there to insurrect or to disturb a congressional hearing, to disturb the peaceful transfer of power.
Everything that I've heard about the confessions and stuff like that sounds incredibly Maoist. It sounds like they the confessions that are given to the people for plea deals and stuff, because that's how you get a plea deal. You have to confess. Right. They sound atrociously Maoist.
Well, they write it for you.
Yeah,
I mean, they write it, you sign it. And it's one of the tools that they're using to secure plea deals is this charge called felony obstruction of Congress. Now, this is they've never used the charge in this way before. It's got some sort of historical context that has to do with people intimidating witnesses in a case in the 1970s. But they bent it and contorted it and twisted it inside out to use it for January 6th to say, well, there was a congressional hearing happening and it had to do with the transfer of power. So we're going to apply this felony charge of obstruction of Congress, which potentially carries 20 years in prison. So you've got, felony for standing on the grounds and felony for this and potential felony of obstruction of Congress. You could be I was potentially facing 3 decades in prison, or I could take a misdemeanor for disorderly conduct. I chose the latter and signed the plea deal.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
That's what's going on.
Do you find other people are coming to you saying that's exactly my experience?
Oh, 100%. I mean, almost every person I know who took a plea deal has shared the same experience of going into a very dark depression. I actually just did an event at CPAC that we called the True Stories of January 6th, which was a panel event featuring Dr. Simone Gold, John Strand, Jerry Perna, the aunt of Matthew Perna, who committed suicide, who was also facing a misdemeanor charge, but chose to kill himself rather than go through with the rest of his sentence because the government came to him and said, now that you've signed our misdemeanor plea deal, which would have carried about a maximum 6-month sentence, then they chose to tell him, we're actually going to request a terrorism enhancement to your sentencing. So now you're facing 6 years in prison, not 6 months. They told him this after he signed the plea deal. Jerry Perna was on our panel, and Derek Evans. And Derek Evans also took a plea deal and talked about how he wept, he cried when he signed it because it's devastating.
Mm-hmm. And it's under coercion, really. I mean, all of these.
I can't say that, but what choice would you
I'll
make?
say it. Mm-hmm. I remember. I often tell the story about how I got arrested for driving on a suspended license that I didn't know was suspended because in Illinois, when you're under the age of 21, if you get more than two moving violations within, I think, 2 years, they suspend your license. I got a bunk ticket from a cop who claimed I was speeding when I wasn't. Didn't have the money to pay it off or go to court or whatever. Didn't know about the law. And so when I get pulled over and get a ticket, I end up going to court. And the judge said, were you coerced in any way? And I said, yes, Your Honor. And then the judge freaked out. And he was like, what? By who? And I was like, the prosecutor threatened, says I'm going to go to prison for a year unless I pled guilty. And he goes, that's not coercion. I'm like, yes, it is.
Yeah, it is.
Are you kidding me?
It absolutely is.
I'm out visiting my family because I got a brother-in-law who's in Iraq, and my family's freaking out because they're worried he's going to lose his life. I drive out there, drive back. All of a sudden, I'm getting arrested for a suspended license. I didn't even know because I wasn't even here and happened like a week ago. Now you're telling me I'm going to go to jail for a year over this? Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's coercion. Sorry.
Yeah.
And then he was like, go talk to a lawyer and come back. I'm sorry, dude. When a prosecutor goes to any person and says, we are going to give you the maximum, a terror charge. We are going to beat you and torture you. That's coercion.
Right. We've got unlimited resources. We're the federal government. You're an individual of limited means. It's David versus Goliath. And we're going to hit you with all of these charges. Oh, and by the way, we won't transfer jurisdiction of your case. So you're going in front of a judge and jury who hates Donald Trump, who hates anybody who voted for Donald Trump. We're not going to let you be seen by a jury of your peers to make the decision. Or all of this can go away if you sign this piece of paper and take this misdemeanor plea deal, which we're still going to treat as an act of terrorism.
Thanks for watching this clip from the Timcast IRL podcast. Hang out with us live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. and become a member over at timcast.com for uncensored, members-only shows exclusive. Thanks for hanging out, and we'll see you all next time.